all over that place. You know, flooding going on, and our prayers go out to everybody in that area.
Yeah, no, first they have a big drought, right? They got a lot of going on, and then all of a sudden now they're getting pounded by continuous rain. I think it's been going on for several weeks, and then the big deluge that happened over the last couple of days. And here it is. I think one dead so far. I think that so far that they know of, but hundreds. There were great. There were some very great videos of rescues by helicopter of people stranded due to the high water. Pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, you know, I love when we see Americans going out there and saving other people, saving their own, you know, saving human life. Much like what we talk about on the show, it's about protecting life. Here we get to see it in action, people with their fishing boats going out, saving people, helicopters going down, saving people in these flash floods that are going on, bringing the babies up, bringing the families up. You have the end dumps going into these houses as well, rescuing folks from these high waters. And when this rain happens like this, when flash floods occur, we talk about it all the time, the power, the kind of surprise. Once it crests, drive safe.
Yeah, and people really don't understand the amount of power that truly goes with water as it either moves across the surface or moving water whatsoever. It doesn't take very much at all to push a vehicle off the road. And if it ever gets sideways on a vehicle, it can definitely overcome whatever. And you know what? Water is so heavy. And as it moves, it is a force to be reckoned with, and it's very dangerous for people out there on the road.
Yeah, 40 inches of rain in the last 31 days. The wettest record, or the wettest fall in record for much of that southern Canadian area in the Pacific Northwest. It's devastation. It's a reminder to us as well, is the power that Mother Nature has. Whether it comes to the rain or even wind, Mother Nature can put her foot down, can make her print on people, on houses, and you, the truck driver. We just saw last month, I believe, up in the South Dakotas, trucks and trailers just blown over everywhere. So we saw 13 trailers blown over. And here's some videos as well, just a reminder of the power of the wind.
Yeah, and you've got to recognize, and we talk about it, we got to recognize what's going on when you're out there and how dangerous and how difficult it can be when you're in the wind. Make sure that you either shut it down, find a place or a safe haven or what have you. But I'll tell you what, this guy pulled out of this one quickly. But you've got to make sure that you understand you can be pushed over. You can be knocked over. You do not have all the weight in the world. You will get pushed over.
Yeah, and we can keep going on and on that video for a while, but you'll see just trailers getting blown over. You can we'll send that link out to YouTube if you want to see it. You can Google that stuff as well. But it's amazing what happens when that wind catches you. Drive safe, Dave. As we've seen the wind move across America, Buckle Up Bob's been talking about it for the last week and a half. We move into this windier season, not to mention the wet roads, the icy roads, a little slush out there. What can the wind do to the truck and the trailer while the drivers are out there?
It can do any number of things. Not only can it can create difficult visibility by blowing up dust and or snow or any inclement weather out there. It makes it difficult to see. It also can push the vehicle over, can make you do things you don't want. Running down a two-lane road, every driver out there understands, running down a two-lane road, big gust of wind, it can push you into oncoming traffic. You got to be cautious, you got to be wary, and you got to understand that you're just pulling a big sail out there. You got a big sail going on out there, and you are subject to the powers of the wind out there on the road. Be cautious, be considerate, and understand, slow down or get off the road when it's too high to be out there.
Yes, sir, and that's going to create chaos, right? We talk about chaos, and when wind can create chaos in the way you're grabbing that steering wheel, right? And how you're probably puckered up a little bit more than normal because it's scary. And drive safe. Has the wind ever tipped you over? Has it ever done anything like we see on the videos?
I've been in some tough winds. I don't think I've ever.
You just lean over?
I've leaned a little bit, but I don't think I've been a weeble. I've wobbled, but I've never fallen down.
Can't imagine the fear that goes inside you, the nervousness. And my goodness, and you just got to figure out. Sometimes you can see it in some of these videos as well. It's like, how do I get off the road? And you talk about it, Drive Safe, Dave. When you do get off that road, what are some things you need to be, if you can, how do you need to place that tractor and trailer?
You know, you can do a couple of things. You can place either your tail or your nose into the wind and get the sail out of the side, right? And put it away from so that you're not being pushed left or right, but that you've got a kind of a north-south move on that wind. And you can put the tail or the nose on there. If it's very, very cold wind, you know, they always want you to put the trailer there because you don't want to freeze up the front of the tractor. But if it's just a high wind, you can always nose into it and see what's coming.
All right, so many safety tips we're going to get you. We're going to talk to you because it's our job. It's what we do here at BCB Live. The safest station in the nation is to make sure that we arm you with this information so when you find yourself out there, you find yourself alone, you find yourself in that one moment when that decision is the difference between tipping or not tipping, between maybe going into water that you shouldn't go into, is you remembering some of these videos you saw here, some of the conversations you've seen and heard on this show. It's important that we take these things and apply it to what we do every single day. Drive Safe Dave, things that we've, you know, when we talk about chaos, we've seen it and heard it on the airlines as well. It's been a crazy year. You know, it's been a hell of a year. Isn't that the old country song that's been Parker's song, right? It's been a hell of a year, and it really has. When you go to these airlines, it happened again, Southwest Airlines. You know, the lady got taken to the hospital after being punched in the head by a passenger, and we remind you to pack your patience. Right? Not punch your patients. You pack your patients because it's out of control. You know, these masks that we're mandated to wear right now, it's wearing on us as humans, I think. But you got to remain calm. You have to pack your patients on the road, in an airplane, anything like that.
Look, you're talking about something so very important, and we're talking about courtesy, we're talking about kindness, and we're talking about respect. And those are paramount in what you do out there, not only behind the wheel out there on the road, but how you treat other people. Look, it doesn't matter if you're traveling on an airplane, you're traveling by truck or by car. People are important, and they are major important. And you know what? They need to be treated as important.
For sure.
And you need to treat each other with respect and kindness whenever possible. I can tell you what.
I can write a book on that. You know, how to treat people with kind and love in their heart. You know, it's a book that Sir Rick is working on right now. Okay. I encourage you to read it and change your life for the good, you know, because that's what we preach here. Drive Safe Dave, listen to this. I know last year wasn't the best year, right? A lot of flights got canceled last year, but here you go. There were 183 reports of unruly passengers last year. This year, 5,114. 180 last year, producer.
Okay,
right?
are the rules
5,114 this year.
Okay, can I ask a question? Are the rules for unruly passenger, has that changed at all? Because I feel like the tolerance level may have changed greatly because there is not. I think it's on both sides, right?
So you think that people, you know, that they're saying the same thing, excuse me, like, you're out of control.
Yeah.
Hey, what do you mean?
Hey, I need you to wear your mask. I don't want to wear my mask. I need you to wear a mask. I'm not going to wear my mask. Unruly passenger. I'm just.
I don't know what those rules are, but I think it goes, you know, we talked about the biting of people. I
know, that's crazy. You know, what is that?
What was it before you got gummed? This year you're getting, I don't think it's the same thing. I think biting's biting. Producer, what do you got?
So unruly passengers are actually separate from mask-related incidents.
Oh, okay.
So there's been 5,114 unruly passenger reports, 3,700 mask-related incidents, 973 investigations that have actually been initiated into these, and 239 enforcement cases that have been initiated due to unruly passengers. So it's all separate.
We're just not in a good mood out there right now, basically.
You know what? It's you know, we talk about the inflation, we talk about jobs, we talk about the chaos, and now we remind you, just like we did before, as we move into the holidays, it just creates more chaos, okay?
Oh,
it creates chaos in our lives, and whether you go shopping, right, and there's people all around you, or you order online and there's no inventory. It says, no, we're out of that product still. Quit asking. You know, it creates chaos, and we remind you to think about the patience that you have to have in your life. Not just when you're driving, when you're at a restaurant, when you're getting fuel, when you're in line for anything, when somebody passes you and they cut you off, remember that. Pack your patience. We're going to really encourage that. Drive safe, Dave. I know we got Jorge Bonilla. We're going to talk a little bit about some stuff out in Haiti. Before that, though, onion rings. Now, listen, anybody that's ever gone out with Sir Rick to eat, probably the biggest fan of onion rings.
Yeah, right here.
I will order them all day, and here we go. Overseas, a big drug bust with onion rings.
Hey, they're shipping them any way
When do
they
you
can.
stop?
And you know what? It is. They are dusting these with some cocaine, and not a little bit, but a lot of.
Yeah, there's like 33 million of cocaine hidden in shipments of onion, 413 kilos. Listen, all I want is my onion ring. That's my own speed or high, whatever you call that.
I guess
nice
it is now.
plate of onion rings. Oh my God, will that do you some good? Don't mess it up with cocaine. And we remind you, if you're out there driving, there's no room for that in what you do. Either it's against the law, so is bringing on any kind of drugs, drinking, alcohol on board.
No tolerance.
No tolerance in the truck, and probably just not the best thing to practice in your life. Anyway, if you want to take some helpful advice from Sir Rick, we'll be back in 60 seconds with Jorge Bonilla coming up next.
Hi, this is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
While you're on duty driving, you have to stay focused in that moment, in that time. If you need a time, if you need a second, or if you need a break, pull over, jump out, get that Pepsi, that hot dog. Do what you got to do to relax for a second.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today.
And welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive safe, Dave. You know, we spoke last week and this week again on a little bit of what's going on there in Haiti, and it just seems out of control. I mean, that whole country is unrest. We've had presidents have been killed. We have the new prime minister in place there, and you know the gangs demanding him to step down and pay some cash. By the way, we still have we still have the 16 Americans and the Canadian being held hostage over there, and it just creates a lot of whys, right? What's going on in this world, and why can't we get them back? You know, with that, you know, we are lucky to have Jorge Bonilla. Jorge Bonilla, if we're there, he is the. You know, the women are going crazy. There's shirts coming up, all this. It's Jorge Bonilla, the best looking security advisor, security guy, expert in the country, probably. Jorge, good morning to you, sir.
Hey, good morning, Rick and Dave. Thank you for having me again. You know, I'm still in shock about the whole cocaine with the onion ring thing. I don't know that I'm ever going to eat onion rings again.
You know what? You just don't. They're fine just the way they are. I mean, they're dipped in tons of grease.
It's a different kind of sauce.
And we don't need anything else laced with those things for sure.
No, exactly. Why mess with a recipe?
You're absolutely right on that. So big fan of that. Hey, Jorge, but a couple things before we get into Haiti is. So I was watching the news last night, and they had Sheriff Lamb on there, America's Sheriff, right? He's America's Sheriff from one of the TV programs.
Reality show.
Yes. So you know the guy, Jorge Bonilla. How do we get Sheriff Lamb on this show to talk a little safety?
You know, Mark is he's pretty easy to get to. I love the name Gypsy Joe. I have a direct connect with him, and I'll try to see if he's available, or he has some type of like a link that you can go in and try to get him. But I'll do my best.
Tell him we want the free version too. We're not looking to pay for any time. We want the free version.
Yeah, we're not looking for that dollars and cents. Not the big bucks you're bringing down.
All right. So Jorge, here we go. We're back to Haiti again. We still have 16 Americans and a Canadian, including one child, still being held hostage over in Haiti. Any new news on that?
The biggest thing right now is that there's some type of legislation going on in Ohio for them to be able to have the leverage to negotiate directly with individuals over there. If in other words, if the federal government does not want to negotiate, because obviously they do not negotiate with terrorists or do not negotiate with criminal organizations in this way. They're going to do it themselves, and whatever it is, whatever that entails, is what's going to go forward with the state of Ohio, as they should. I mean, they have to look out for their own. Canada is obviously very, they're just worried, very worried about the whole situation over there with the one individual, and so they're working together to try to get everybody back.
Yeah, so it's been it's almost been 30 days to the day. It was back a month ago on the 16th when they were last seen, the Americans and the Canadian through that ministry there at a orphanage in which they were kidnapped right there. Jorge, I'm just going to kind of stick to this same subject, and I know it's not the United States' position to ever, but when do we just not get them? I'm just telling you, if I'm being held hostage, unless I have onion rings that they're feeding me all the time, I'm saying come get me. I don't care what happens, because I'm probably not living a great life where I'm being held hostage. When do we just go get them, or is that just something that we don't do?
Well, yeah, what we understand is that obviously, $17 million is a lot of money, $1 million per person. It's absurd. So the negotiation right now is trying to bring that particular number down. But also at the same time negotiate to maintain these individuals healthy, fed, hydrated and everything. But at the same time, they're going to stand their ground. They understand that they have leverage, that they have individuals that are cared for here in the States and Canada, and they understand what they have, and they're gonna probably push the envelope to the limit until they can't no more, and then they'll be a little bit more open to the situation.
What are we doing? What are we doing as Americans or outside individuals trying to help bolster the security forces there inside this country, this sovereign power? Because it's a fine line about what you can and can't do with a sovereign power. But what are we doing? And do you know of anything that we're doing short term or long term to help the security forces in that region that seem to be overwhelmed with what's going on?
It's funny you should ask that, Dave, because I just got word recently that there is an interest to bolster the security forces in Haiti. Obviously, it's an uphill battle to try to get all individuals on board and for all individuals to fight for their country, to fight for the security of the nation. However, there is a need. There's a demand, obviously, and then there's interest. I don't know if the interest is from the government. I would have to assume yes, but I also tend to think that it's outside sources that are probably pushing for this, and perhaps submitting or putting in the money or the funds to be able to train these individuals. There's a bunch of companies here in the States that can do that, and they want to do that. They want to be part of the problem, or not the problem. I'm sorry. They don't want to be part of the problem. They want to be part of the solution, and so. We'll see. I think there's more to follow on that. I'll give you guys an update on that as soon as I have one.
Has any word on and usually in some of these instances we utilize the United Nations in a multinational facet so that no one country seems to be the culprit, right? We go under the UN flag or the UN steps forward. Any word of the UN maybe being part of this security bolstering or stepping in because of the humanitarian problem going on right now in this country?
That is a very good theory, and we expect for the UN to be involved in the security bolstering process in Haiti. I think that they've been crying out loud for years about this situation, and now that the situation has gotten off hand, and it was off the handle for such a long time. Now, because of the kidnapping and because of the pretty much a lawless country in Haiti. Taking over and demanding things and doing things, like shutting down the gas in Haiti to make the demands noticed. Those are things that now it's like, okay, I think it's time to rally and do something about this. The UN, I'm not sure, but the UN may be involved in that. They should be.
Gotcha. And to kind of back up what you all are talking about, if you're new, if you haven't really listened or followed this before, is that this gang was the 400 Mawazo, and it's led by Joseph Wilson, or Wilson Joseph. And here's what his quote is. And we all have quotes, but here's what he's known for saying: death doesn't know which day it's coming. That's who we're dealing with right there. Death doesn't know which day is coming. Just 5 days ago, this same place in Haiti, a bus carrying 52 people held hostage, killed a police officer. They later, after a night, let these people go. The demand from this gang, which is the G9 gang, this is from Jimmy Barbecue, okay? This is his name, Jimmy Barbecue, the former police officer, chief, blocking the fuel and demanding money and the resignation of the now Prime Minister Henry, and it's making a lasting effect on this country. You have the hospitals unable to do full operations going on right now because of the fuel crisis going on. You have schools and businesses and a lot of places working like 2 or 3 days now because there is no fuel. These folks here are controlling it all.
Yeah, it's crippling the economy, and it is kind of this horrible cycle that goes on when these criminal organizations take hold and cripple the way business is done just so that they can extort money. And it's concerning. And from the outside looking in, we all wonder how this can happen. But this happens a lot, right? In not a lot, but it can happen pretty regularly in a country in which is not have a stable government, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. A lawless country such as Haiti, as is going right now, they have nothing to lose. Criminal organizations, they know, as I said before, they know how to leverage what they have and how to cripple the economy. They're doing that just now. They're just giving you bits and pieces of what they can do and what they're going to continue to do, especially as the criminal organizations continue to meld together as one. And take over the entire nation. They've already done that. They've already shown us that they can do that. A lot of the times, they know, excuse me, they know that there's outside interests. There's people outside, in the United States, in Canada, wherever, all over the world, who have a vested interest in Haiti, and they have a vested interest for Haiti to thrive in the very near future. And when there's a lot of emphasis on that, and the criminal organizations know that, they're gonna take advantage of that, and they're gonna say, well, if you have a vested interest in our country, then put up or shut up, basically, give us some money, and that's why the negotiations have I believe the negotiations have stopped. Basically, they haven't gone anywhere.
Producer.
So we have a question here. So with the recent vacuum of power being seen in Haiti due to the assassination of their prime minister, do you see these two gangs turning on each other for a fight for power, or do you think they will work together to fill that vacuum?
There's a very good possibility that that'll happen. I mean, there's a push to join, to become like a one-man gang and have a one leader, but there's a bunch of alpha males there trying to run their own things, but their own criminal organizations. But at the same time, if the other organization becomes bigger and bigger, like the G9, and the other ones want to stay behind, this is going to be that conflict. It's going to be that conflict because stepping in the boundaries or whatever else. It's just like here in the States. That you hear about the criminal organizations or the gangs here, how they fight each other for territory. It's the same thing that's going to happen over there. It's happening over there right now.
We hear from the State Department how important it is for the Americans to depart, and we all and most of Americans we go, how come you're not leaving? But explain, Sergeant Major, exactly how difficult it is sometimes when people become integrated into a society, even though they're Americans. They have homes, they have family, right? They have families there, and they have a way of life there, and then we're asking them to leave because it's not safe. I mean, just explain what's going on when the State Department says, hey, everybody needs to get out.
Yeah, I just had this conversation with a good friend of mine who went to Haiti 3 years ago. and I tell him he was born in Haiti, raised here, and but he has a obviously like a vested interest in the country. He has family there. He has property there. He has business there. He wants he wants all that to thrive, and so he goes over there not only to look out for his business and for his family and whatever else, but at the same time, he understands that there's a threat, criminal organizations that may take him, kidnap him for ransom. But he has to go. He speaks the language. He speaks the language like them, and he feels like he can integrate and just pass without being noticed, basically living in plain sight. I'm sad for him because he feels that he has to be a part of this growth and the thrive in the country, but at the same time he knows he's in danger.
Our prayers continue to go out to those to the Americans and to that Canadian that are being held hostage right now. Prayer is a powerful thing. Continue to pray for them. That's the same thing that they're asking for out of Ohio right now, are prayers from all of us to, really for the hearts of those that are holding them hostage, to give them that ability to release them and set them free. Continue to pray for them. Mr. Bonilla, I want to thank you for being part of BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Hey, thank you for what you do. Thank you for your insight, and thank you for your willing participation in this show.
Thank you, Rick and Dave. I'll get back to you on Sheriff Lamb, and I hope to see you guys soon.
All right, Mr. Bonilla, appreciate that. Thanks for everything.
Yeah, take care.
All right.
Interesting stuff going on. Interesting developments. Very, very, very difficult to look at. Very difficult to understand. And
it really is. I mean, when we deal with, again, I think what makes it that much more difficult is it's not our country, right? And I think that if we put it right back here to the States, if something were to happen here, we would want to be here. And I think, we'd want to be here through the thick and the thin. We're going to fight for our country, much like we probably see it, whether it's Afghanistan or Haiti, those folks that have ties to family is important.
You look at it and you talk about this gentleman that has business there, and look, the success of this country is dependent upon people much like this guy going in and continuing his business and having his business thrive. It is very important that those people continue to contribute to the economy, continue to contribute to the government, and their voices be heard and not run and flee. And you know what? It takes a brave individual, and it takes an exciting, a person of character to go do those things and to understand the dangers, but be willingness to live that way of life. We talk about real quick. You've lived in a outside country. I've lived outside the United States. We see that other cultures are affected differently, and I think it's easier for us to understand. But somebody that hasn't actually been outside the country or seen the way others live, it's very difficult to understand that. And you know what? Can you just imagine the security forces not being secure with your home, with your family, not knowing if it's going to be okay the next day? It's very, very scary.
No doubt about it. And again, our prayers go out to each and every one of you out there right now, to your families, if that's who it is. That's missing right now. If you're one of those Americans or Canadians, man, I'm going to ask all of us to say a prayer today for these folks, for the release of them. Let's get them back home. We need them. Heck, they're our folks, going out, spreading the word, going out and doing good, helping the orphanages. Man, stuff like this just shouldn't happen. We have Dale coming up next. Buckle Up Bob is at a safety meeting today. I'll actually be joining Buckle Up Bob on a panel today.
Wow.
As we talk a little bit about safety to this country. It's what we've got to do at BCB Live, is spread the word on safety and our commitment as a industry to safety. Drive Safe Dave, so much going on, so many things that we've got to keep in our minds as we move forward, but nothing right now near as important as that phrase that pays.
That is right. It is. It's that time of year, never veer for deer.
One more time.
It's that time of year, never veer for deer.
This is BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
BCB Live covers freight. Here we are now at 21% of record freight being rejected. News over the UK, they have the Army personnel getting ready to start driving the fuel truck. Weather, traffic.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to some traffic and weather with Buckle Up Bob.
And most importantly, safety.
You can do many things to communicate that you are slowing down. You can flip your hazards on.
Expect craziness like this all the time.
75% of these fatal accidents involving these trucks are with the first two, and it's the driving too fast and tailgating. If this driver hadn't slowed down, this could have been a whole different outcome.
Tune in weekdays from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. You can watch BCB Live through LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
Morning and welcome to the morning edition of the Safety Show on BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You got Double Check Dale in front of the camera, and we tied our Get Out and Look Backing Street 68 days. Fantastic job, everyone. Great job. Tied it. We're going for the record by the end of the week. We're going to be 70. Before we know it, we're going to be triple digits. Excellent job. With that, we're going to go to traffic, and we're going to start in the Dallas-Fort Worth area with traffic this morning, and there is a lot of slowdowns going on. We'll start over on the Fort Worth side. 35W where it comes into downtown, lots of slowdowns. The downtown area, lots of slowdowns. 820 up around around 35W. You have some slowdowns out there. And then through the mid-cities on Interstate 30 and Interstate 20 in the Arlington area, slowdowns and backups there. 360, where it intersects with Interstate 30, we have a lot of reds going on, so expect some delays there. When we get over to the Dallas side of it, anything inside the loop down around 30 and 45 inside the loop in the Dallas area, expect a lot of slowdowns and delays. There is a lot of reds and oranges going on in the Dallas-Fort Worth area this morning, so pack your patience. Expect some delays if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you get on 45 south, you're actually going to look pretty good once you get past 20, and 35E once you get south of DeSoto in that area, looks like it's going to be pretty decent, but lots and lots of traffic problem areas this morning. Kansas City looks really good again this morning. We're not seeing a whole lot of issues up there. Only slowdown we see is, and I don't even know if that's 35 toward the south where it gets close to 435. A little bit of red there, but other than that, 70 coming across in Kansas City looks really good, and for the most part, 35 and 29 look really good in Kansas City. We're going up to Chicago. The Windy City looks really good for the most part. Of course, if you're inside the 294 loop, there's going to be a lot of traffic. The 294 loop itself, the northern sections of it looks pretty good. We're south, where 55 starts going south from the 294. That's where you're going to see some problems. 80 and 90 going across is wide open this morning. There's no even slowdowns showing up over there in the Indiana side. So really, Chicago looks like it's pretty decent this morning. And we go to Atlanta. Of course, you know, if you're in Atlanta, you should not be inside the loop unless you're making deliveries. So 20 coming in from the east or from the west. Lots of slowdowns there before you get to 285. Once you get to 285 south of 20, a lot of dark red slowdown. So really expect some major delays on 285 this morning south of 20. And then when you get on the north side with the loop 285, up around that Sandy Springs area, all the way over from 75 all the way over to 85, expect a lot of delays, a lot of slowdowns. Pack your patience there because it is looking pretty nasty out in the Atlanta area this morning. As we go to Philadelphia, you know, Philadelphia is always a traffic mess at this time of morning, and looks the same way there. Downtown area probably a little worse than the most of it. Up around Coxsackie, lots of slowdowns and traffic there. 495 down around Marcus Hook in the Chester area. Wilmington, we have some major slowdowns and delays there. Once we get over to the New Jersey side, the New Jersey Turnpike around Haydenfield, lots of slowdowns, a big red section of red. So again, lots of slowdowns. Pack your patience out in Philadelphia because it looks like we're going to have some major delays out there today. Going into Nashville, you know, the 65-24 where it runs together, that's going to be your problem area this morning. Downtown Nashville looks really pretty good, and then 40 going out to the east is going to be a little bit of a slowdown inside the 155 loop, and then 40 out by Mount Juliet, we're seeing some slowdowns there. 24 coming into town from the south, lots of slowdown and delays in that area. 65 looks pretty good, 40 out on the west side of Nashville looks pretty good, and 24 and 65 north of the city look good. So it's really once you get inside that loop where you're going to see some issues. DC, Baltimore, we'll start down in DC, and typical traffic in DC, you know, 495 loop, problem spots just about all the way around. You know, there's some stop and go traffic in places, then it opens up for a little bit. You know, look for your major delays around the 495-270 intersection. The 295-50 intersection will give you some problems. And then as we're heading up towards DC or to Baltimore, 295 in the South Laurel, Russet area, both directions have slowed down and have some delays there. Once we get into the Baltimore area, you know, the south side all looks really good, but it's the 695 from 70 up around Pikesville, Townsend, Parkville. Lots of delays and backups and slowdowns there. So if you're on the 695 north of 70 all the way over to 95 in Baltimore, expect some delays today. So that should be, we have one more. We're going to do Indy. All right, well that looks like the traffic for today. Let's jump over to the weather. And of course, we've been talking about winds a lot, and it's that time of year. It's the windy time of year. And for the most part, they're really not too bad today. The major problem areas, if you're going to be way up north into North Dakota, northern Montana, South Dakota, that's where your major winds are going to be. There's a couple areas in Wyoming around that Elk Mountain that we'll see some winds a little later. But right now, it's really up in the north central United States that we're seeing it. Winds are starting to build a little bit out in the western panhandle of Oklahoma and up through Kansas, southern Kansas City. So if you're running that areas, be aware. As we slide a little bit in through the day and by this afternoon, we see the winds continue to grow up in the north central states. And so all of North Dakota, all of South Dakota, now the winds are starting to affect parts of southern Minnesota, northwest Iowa, northern Nebraska. So be aware of there, you know, there's some high winds and some gusts. You know, if you're loaded light, make sure you slow down. And if you're empty, and you get into a real windy area, you may want to think about pulling over and waiting it out. But like I said, that's really up in the north central states. We're seeing the wind, and we're seeing a little bit starting to build this afternoon up through the Ohio Valley and through Indiana, Ohio, and parts of Kentucky. This evening, you know, I think we'll see it die down. And this evening, we really do see the winds die down just about everywhere. Still a pretty strong area up in North Dakota, but everywhere else, the winds are really dying down and dissipating this evening. Tomorrow morning looks really pretty good. Some winds up in northern Minnesota and parts of North Dakota, a little bit out in the higher elevations out in Oregon and Idaho, but for the most part, looking pretty good there. We are starting to see a little bit of winds build into the southern and central Texas, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Let's take a look and see what we've got going on for precipitation. And it all is pretty quiet right now. I mean, no, take that back. All is real quiet right now. There is no precipitation showing up right at the moment coming across the U.S. So kind of a rarity there. I'll slide into later today. And still, you know, pretty wide open. No, not much precipitation going on for the next 24, 36 hours across the United States. So that's kind of a good thing. Only thing of note is we have some temperatures, really cold temperatures in the 10s and 15-degree range out in the western, northwestern part of the United States up through Wyoming, Colorado, Utah. So if you're out in that area of the United States this evening, expect some very cold temperatures out there, probably the coldest ones of the season yet. And that'll even be in some of the lower elevations. So with that, let us go to the safety topic, and that is truckers against trafficking. That's what we've been talking about this week. And we talked about it's human trafficking, whether it be for labor or for sex. It's a global U.S. and Texas problems. Texas or truckers have got involved. There's an organization called Texas Truckers Against Trafficking. We looked at the states where it is the most prevalent, where the most arrests, and so I'll give you the top 5. California, in the last 5 years, California has had the most arrests. Then it's Florida. Texas is number 3 with arrests on that. New York, and then Tennessee. So we just have to be very diligent, very vigilant on watching for the trafficking of humans, no matter what it's for. And if you see something that looks suspicious, notify somebody, get somebody involved in it. Like I said, when I started the show, the accident-free streak, we tied it at 68. Let's keep that one building day after day, one day at a time, 1 hour at a time, one back at a time. The preventable accident streak is now at 3 days, and the DOT reportable accident-free streak is now at 29 days. And with that, let's take a short break.
Your host of BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. If you don't already know about Freight Review, it's a segment I cover once a week where I analyze freight rejections, freight tenders, driver productivity, and much, much more. You can watch Freight Review on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today and follow BCB Live.
This is David Dover, also known as Drive Safe Dave. You are watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Safety is what you want to talk about, and safety is what you want to be every single day. That's what we're here for. We're here to make it better.
The industry needs BCB Live so that it can find new and inventive ways to bring safety to the forefront for every single person out there on the road.
While you're on duty driving, you have to stay focused in that moment, in that time. If you need a time, if you need a second, or if you need a break, pull over, jump out, get that Pepsi, that hot dog. Do what you got to do. Relax for a second.
You can watch BCB Live weekdays, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. So what are you waiting for? Follow and subscribe to BCB Live today. All right, everybody, and welcome back to the show. You know what? Great stuff on trafficking, human trafficking. I want to make everybody aware and continue to educate. I like that. But as we do, and as always, let's go straight to the videos, producer.
In this first one, the driver sent this one in. This is an autonomous truck that is out there rolling. Just took a little video on the road, and so we're showing that. And one of the things I noticed is his space distance is very good there, and it doesn't seem to waver very much. Very good space management by the autonomous truck.
Yeah, this is interesting too. See it in action out there on the road, and do you drive by and wave, or do you pretend you're waving, or what is it you do?
This is actually Waymo, the people we had on a number of weeks ago. So they have somebody in the
There's actually 2 people in there. There's one guy in the driver's seat, one with the computer.
Asleep in the driver's seat, right? He's actually hanging out. He's kind of like kicked back, relaxed, got the cruise out, got it going on, and I would say, do you think he texts? I'm just asking. I'm just going out on. I'm gonna say. Do you think the Waymo driver, or it's not really a driver, he's more of a
attendant,
actually texts and drive? I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna say it's not a good idea, but what do you do? Next one.
Hey, it starts out really good here. We got great space and distance, and we have to keep that no matter what the speed is. Traffic starts slowing down, lots of lane, and then we see that quick lane change. Just hate seeing that. We have to keep that distance. and be aware of it. You know, as Buckle Up Bob points out all the time, when we jump over into a lane like that, statistically 1 out of 5 is going to join us, so we really have to be aware of what's going on when we move a lane over. You know, this is a great one here. Big picture and courtesy. We're coming up to a stoplight. The truck is doing a great job of slowing down for the stoplight, and then we see a car up here that's starting to change lanes, and he even slows down, backs off a little bit more. That shows some courtesy and lets the car come over a couple lanes, and it's just a great job by that driver there with courtesy and patience.
Right, and as we look at this, I'm thinking he's in the left turn lane and realizes, you know what, I don't want to actually turn left here, and I don't really want to go straight. I think I might be trying to make a right-hand turn from the left-hand turn lane. Very concerning at the intersection, what's going on here. Would anybody concur with that assessment of what's happening here?
Yeah.
Looks like we have you know what, maybe it's not to the left. Maybe the Burger King is to the right. I'm just saying.
Yeah, maybe I have my phone upside down and I got the directions confused.
I don't think it works like that.
You know, and this one kind of ties in with the last one because intersections are dangerous and not a great way to start a day in this one. But I like showing this because the driver does a great job of slowing down, plenty of room for the first responders, giving those people plenty of room to work and everything. Like I said, intersections are dangerous, and it definitely looks like somebody forgot their patience or got distracted at the intersection, and bad things happen when that happens, Dave.
Yeah, you know, give the respect to the first responders out there. Good stuff.
Okay, and again, you know, we want to keep that distance at any speed, and when we come to a stop, we should be able to see a little.
1001, 1002, 1003.
Yep. But when we come to that stop, we need to keep that space, and we're really tied up on here. So if that truck can't get out, move ahead from us, and we have to change lanes, we're so close up we can't do it. So we really need to, you know, make sure when we come to a stop that we have that space in front of it. And I think you always say see the pavement, and I think the next video will show us that. So coming up the stoplight, the driver comes to a dead stop, and we see the pavement between the vehicle and in front of us. It's just a great job there, driver. Just a great job.
You know, and I mentioned the pavement, how important it is to see good pavement. It not only keeps a good safe distance, but it also allows you to have a better visibility of what's going on around the vehicle in front of you. The further back you are, the better able to see what's happening up front. And that's one of the main reasons. Not only do you give that control that area in front of you in case somebody hits you, but also you get that visibility. Because if you're up tight behind a big truck, you can't see anything but the advertisement or the phone number to the other trucking company.
All right, big picture thing. There you go.
Yeah.
Any callers this morning, Mr. Producer?
You know, as we continue to talk in some of those videos, I'll tell you, you're going to see people make chaotic decisions. And as we get closer into the holidays, we're going to have a lot of people out there on the road. There's going to be more people on the road this year than there has been in years. And even though price of fuel is up, they did estimate that there's going to be like 51 million extra people on the roads this holiday season. And we're closing in on that, right? We're about a week away from people starting to travel.
Yep. And
I anticipate you're going to see quite a few people moving this weekend.
I think you're right. And, you know, with that, you know, with all those added traffic, it's families. And it's easy to get distracted when you're driving a family car. And so, I mean, you know, just really the
kids in the back fighting and making it crazy. I will tell you, it's going to be insane. What you got there, producer?
Yeah, we got Donna Kaysen on the line. What do you got for us?
What's going on, Donna?
Hey, good morning. Hey, Dale, could you double check that wind? It is extremely windy out here. I just left out of Amarillo, heading to Shreveport, and I've got my speed down to about 65, and it's just kicking my butt out here. And I'm heavy, so it's stronger than what it's showing.
All right,
just wanted to give everybody heads up.
And you know, Amarillo is famous for. I can tell you right now, in my personal experience, it is always windy in Amarillo. I don't. Right, Donna? I mean, rarely do you go through.
Yes, indeed.
Rarely do you go through Amarillo and not getting your butt kicked by a little bit of wind, right?
It is. It's whipping me around. I had to back out of the speed I mean, it was rocking me when I was parked up last night, or when I woke up this morning. But could you please check that and give everybody a heads up?
Yeah, just
Thank
east
you.
of there, they're showing about 30 miles an hour gusts. So yeah, you're going to get buffeted by some winds. Be careful out there, and thanks for the heads up of what's going on out there. It's always nice to hear from somebody out there what's happening.
That's right.
Is that going to be is that a north wind hitting you, Donna?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just kicking. It's kicking pretty hard out here. So anybody that's light or empty, I don't know. They
Be
better
cautious.
either slow it down or pull it over. Yes, very cautious.
All right. Well, I appreciate sharing that. I'll take a look at it. And if we see something, we'll get something out on Driver Tech about that. Thanks, Donna.
Yeah, and going back to the holidays, I don't want to lose sight of the potential of what's going to be happening over the next 10 days, right? I mean, over the next 10 days, I see people taking off a little early on Thursday or even out on Friday, traveling, getting out there on the road. I anticipate, and then taking off next week altogether and getting out and seeing family, which they haven't done in some time. There's going to be some families that haven't been together for a big number of time or a long time, because last year we were restricted on the number of people and we all kept to ourselves. I really anticipate everybody out there on the road, you're going to see a lot of people getting out there, going to places where you're not aware of, not what's going on, driving in unfamiliar territory, and you're going to see some of these crazy lane changes, just like you saw. Hey, I don't need to turn left here.
All right.
I need to come over 4 lanes of traffic at a stopped intersection and make a right-hand turn, and I'm going to do it in front of a big truck. Some of the options that are going to be, some of the choices out there being made are not going to be those ideal options. But look, Rick mentioned it earlier, and I want to call to action that idea of courtesy, kindness, and patience. This holiday season, it's a holiday season for a reason. And I hope everybody truly gets into the spirit of what it means in the holiday season and understand that life is truly about others. And I know everyone has a bad day, everyone finds a difficult moment, and everyone just, they get and they get really irritated with another individual. But understand, it's difficult to truly know where that other individual is at that moment and at that time. They may do some stupid stuff. They may brake check you. They may act like a fool. They may do things that don't make sense. And normally they wouldn't. And we just don't know where they are in that time and in that moment. So I call you out there, each and every person out there, as we get through and as we enter into this most difficult of travel time, because the roads will be packed in those weird peak hours. And I mean, they'll be driving in late evenings. They'll be driving on the weekend. These highways will be full.
Yeah, I mean, the college will be on break, and so you'll see a lot of college kids driving home and probably, making bad choices, texting or talking on the phone, distracted. And so, that's just one more thing to weigh into it. So, yeah, that patience, courtesy, awareness, all play into it, Dave.
Yeah, and you're going to see some people celebrating on the holidays too. And unfortunately, they tend to get out on the road and not pay attention and not make great decisions. So what I am asking is, you understand what we're entering into, this very difficult of time, this family time, right? Thanksgiving, this very American holiday. But I'll tell you, it means so much that what's going to be going on out there on the road. I hope you truly get to that point where you're out there, that you give a little bit more space and you give a little bit more distance, and you just remain a little bit calmer out there, because it's going to be chaotic out there on the road. You know what? I'll tell you what's really going to happen and really surprise you this holiday season. There's going to be stoppages on the highway in places where they don't normally stop. There's going to be backups where there's not normal backups, and at different times where there's not normal times that they back up. I can tell you, number one, there's going to be sales at malls. There's going to be things going on where people are exiting and lining up, and you're going to be flying down the road and they will be stopped, right? There's going to be places in which you're going to encounter situations that aren't normal, because these aren't going to be normal times. And I just want everybody aware of what's happening, and keep your that sensitivity level up to what's happening around you, and to keep your focus on what's going, because it only takes a second to lose focus of what's going out there on the road.
Oh, so true.
All right, with that, I'll tell you what, I will go ahead and close this with a quick prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather before you today on this day to ask for your grace in all things. Father, we come before you to ask that you help us be better people today. Help us be a better person. Help us to be more patient, more kind, more considerate, and more for what needs to be done today. Father, give us the courage to be a blessing upon somebody else today in some way. Help us find that moment. Help us find that time. And help us keep others safe while we keep ourselves safe as well. Father, we ask all these things in your name, we pray. Amen. Hey, everybody, have a great, wonderful, and safe day. We'll see you this afternoon, right?
That is correct.
We'll see you this afternoon at 2.
I'm here at 2:30.
There you go. But I think the producer's on at what, 2:15? Anyway, we'll see you then. Bye.